Everyone thought Marcus Reed had finally made it. Penthouse apartment, private driver, corner office downtown. So when he came home early one rainy Thursday and saw police lights flashing outside his own building, fear wasn't his first emotion. Confusion was, because inside that apartment, the one he worked his whole life for, his pregnant white wife was sitting on the floor, shaking, crying, clutching her stomach, while a neighbor stood beside her saying the same thing again and again. I was just trying to protect her from him. Marcus grew up on the south side of Chicago, not the kind you see in commercials. The real one. Sirens at night, schools with broken heaters, teachers who expected failure before you even spoke. He learned early that being black in America meant living on probation you never signed up for. So Marcus did everything right. Straight A's, scholarships, Ivy League degree, finance career. He became the man they said didn't exist. By 36, he was one of the youngest senior partners at a private equity firm. One of the only black men in rooms full of white suits and quiet judgment. That's where he met Emily Parker. Emily was calm, soft-spoken, blonde, came from money but didn't flaunt it. She talked to Marcus like a human being, not a headline. Coffee turned into dinners into late-night walks. When Marcus introduced her to his mother, Emily hugged her like family. No hesitation. They married quietly. No drama. When Emily got pregnant, Marcus wanted peace, space, safety. They moved into a luxury building in a neighborhood people loved calling progressive. BLM signs in windows, pride flags on balconies, and not a single black family in the building. At first it seemed fine. Then little things started piling up. Security stopping Marcus in the lobby but waving Emily through. Delivery guys asking Marcus if he lived there. Neighbors locking doors faster when he passed. Emily brushed it off. "You're reading too much into it," she'd say. Marcus stopped talking about it. Because black men learn fast that explaining racism makes people uncomfortable, and uncomfortable. People stop listening. Pregnancy changed Emily. She became anxious, jumpier, stayed inside more. She started flinching sometimes when Marcus entered a room. Not fear exactly, but tension. One night, Marcus overheard her on the phone. "No, he's not dangerous. He's just intense sometimes." Intense? Marcus stood frozen in the hallway, because he knew exactly what that word meant when it was used on men who looked like him. That's when Daniel Whitmore entered the picture. Daniel lived across the hall, mid-40s, clean haircut. Friendly smile, the kind of guy who loved calling himself an ally. Daniel checked on Emily a lot. Too much. Marcus mentioned it once. "He's just being nice," Emily said. Marcus let it go. Because jealousy on a black man never looks like concern to anyone else. Then came the night everything broke. Marcus came home early from work. Rain pouring. Head pounding. Police cars outside. Lights flashing. Before Marcus could even reach the door, an officer raised his hand. "Sir, stay right there." Inside his own building. They escorted him upstairs. Emily was on the floor crying. Daniel standing beside her like a hero in a movie scene. Emily looked up at Marcus and gasped. Not relief, fear. The officer spoke calmly. "We received a call about a domestic disturbance." Marcus hadn't yelled, hadn't even been home. Daniel jumped in fast. She was scared. I heard shouting. I did what anyone would do. Marcus felt his chest tighten. The officer turned to Emily. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Emily hesitated. Her hands trembled. Then came the question Marcus had spent his entire life dreading. "Sir, have you ever hurt your wife?" Marcus opened his mouth to answer. Emily whispered, "I don't know anymore." That was enough. Marcus spent the night in a holding cell. No charges, just suspicion. By morning, the story had spread. Security watched him differently. Neighbors avoided eye contact. Emily stayed with her parents for space. Marcus tried calling, texting, explaining. Emily didn't answer. Weeks passed. Then the court papers arrived. Restraining order, temporary custody petition. A therapist's report claiming Emily felt unsafe. Marcus read the words again and again. Unsafe, because that was all it took. Not proof, not facts, just fear. The trial dragged on. Daniel testified, calm, confident, heroic. She was terrified. I was afraid for her and the baby. Emily testified next, voice shaking, eyes down. I felt like I was losing control, and I didn't know if he might snap. Marcus sat silently, because anger would only prove their point. Then Marcus's lawyer presented something unexpected. Security footage. Daniel's testimony didn't match the timestamps. Then came phone records. Daniel had been texting Emily late at night, planting ideas, feeding fears. And finally, a hidden audio recording from Emily's phone therapy session. Daniel's voice. You should trust your instincts. Men like him, they change. The courtroom went silent. Emily broke down crying. She admitted it all. The neighbors, the whispers, Daniel's influence, how fear had slowly replaced trust. Marcus was cleared, but cleared didn't mean healed. Emily apologized, over and over. Marcus listened quietly. Then he stood up. I forgive you, he said. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Marcus walked away. Months later, Marcus stood in a smaller apartment. No penthouse, no driver, but peace. He volunteered, spoke publicly, told his story. Not with anger, with truth. Because the scariest thing about racism isn't hatred. It's how quietly it convinces people that fear is logic, and how easily one lie can destroy a life that took decades to build.